testing to make sure it's not going to fall down.
I don't really know how to like sum up my quarantine experience. It hasn't been like distinctly one thing.
With all this extra time, on one end, it's been so relaxing and so liberating, but also it makes me think about my depression and my insecurities.
I never realized like how much I needed my friends until like I just really couldn't see them anymore in person. And the hardest part is just being okay with being alone.
Being isolated and like not having everyday interactions with my teachers and with other students has been really hard.
I think when I'm around people and I'm around friends, it's easier to kind of get by without thinking about like what makes you deserving of having a bad day or having a day off, when I really don't have that issue when I'm around other people.
People give me energy, and if I'm not able to have a conversation, socialize with people, I am literally not going to be myself.
I enjoyed being by myself, and I always considered myself an introvert. Maybe I still am, but what I have realized and learned over quarantine is that the best 1 or 2 hours of my week are when I get to go and see my friends on the weekend, actually see other people. And so I think maybe what we're all realizing is that we need and thrive on human interaction a little more than we thought.
I think when I wake up, I have a lot of like unrealistic goals, to be honest. I'm just really hard when every day is the same. We're going through the motions, but I feel like I'm not getting anywhere.
Everything I do in this room. I've been that person who stays up till 1 a.m. to finish an assignment, even though once I reach a certain point, I'm literally just staring at an empty page and not being productive.
Even when the world seems to be slowing down, sometimes inside your head, things just keep speeding up. And I think one of the best coping mechanisms is just to stop.
Taking a breath, just relaxing, being in the moment. Don't think about the future, don't think about the past.
Something that's really been motivating and like keeps me going throughout this strange and new time has been the fact that we're all in this together. Like it's not one person or one community, it's the whole world.
I think it's also important to reach out to people around you, because chances are that what you're going through, what you're feeling, is pretty similar to what they're feeling.
Okay, we're going to get through this.
For the past couple months, I have learned how to run miles at a time. I've learned how to speak French. I've learned how to do these things that I wouldn't have time for during the normal school year.
Back in March, you told me we'd still be going in October, we'd still be in quarantine. I wouldn't have believed you, and I wouldn't have believed in myself. I wouldn't have believed that I would make it. But I've discovered coping strategies, and I've met new friends and like reconnected with old ones. And I've really realized like what it's going to take to get through this, and I do believe that I will now. The biggest thing that I've just learned is that we're all a lot tougher than we think we are. And we're all capable of surviving this together.
Just a general, what is your main message of hope, or just a takeaway message about mental health, about stigma, or about your journey during COVID?
I think, like, for me, something that the message that I always try to remind myself is just like, I don't know if it's really a message, but kind of the ideology that I keep is just like kindness, kindness to others, but especially kindness to myself. Because, life is ultimately just hard oftentimes. And, there's no way to, you can't really invalidate or discredit like how difficult it can be sometimes. But, you know, I think just keeping like a message of kindness towards others and myself, like remembering that life is hard for other people too. And therefore, you know, the best thing I can do as a member of a community, as a member of society, is just be kind to other people and try and make it a little easier for them. And, you know, in the exact same way, just be kind to myself and like recognize, you know, I'm going to have good days and bad days. And as long as I'm kind to myself throughout all of it, I know that I'm going to be okay. And I know that I'm going to be my, you know, I'm my number one ally and my number one supporter. And so, you know, just remembering to be proud of myself for everything that I do. And even when what I do is not much, you know, still just being proud and being nice.
No, I completely agree with what Novak said. It's so hard going after Novak because he has such great ideas, and I always feel like, anyway, I always feel like I have to match up to it. But yeah, I guess when I initially heard that question, I thought back to my senior quote, which I chose a couple weeks ago. And I chose the quote, "Go where you feel most alive." And I feel like that's been really symbolic of my experience in quarantine, just like finding every day, like filling every day with some sort of purpose, even if that means just like waking up in the morning, or I don't know, yeah, doing a random act of kindness, just finding things that you can do that make you feel like a person, like make you feel like a human being. I feel like it's been really helpful for me throughout this pandemic.
Yeah, I would agree with Novak and Samina said. Just like, I think my message of hope is just like find the tiny victories in your day and your month and in your, you know, like just find them, find goals, find things that you know you can achieve, even if they're not, like Novak said, they're not that big. Just find something that will make you feel like happy and you'll feel content, and that will, sorry, a little distracted. That will make you feel like there's a reason to get out of bed. There's a reason to do this and that. There's a reason to get on Zoom school. Like Zoom school sucks, but like we have to do it. And I mean, yeah, we do have to do it if we want to get through this. And like it does suck, and it's gonna suck for a while. But like we got to do it, and we got to find ways to get through it together. So just find those tiny victories.
For me, something that's helped not just through quarantine, but kind of my entire mental health journey, just the thing that I try to remember is just that I'm not alone. I think it's really easy when you're feeling bad to think that no one else is going to understand how I'm feeling. No one else has ever felt how I'm feeling, but that's not true. There are a lot of people who, even if they don't feel exactly how you're feeling, they can relate in some way. So I think that for me, it's just really important to reach out to other people. I've said it before, but I'm just reiterating it because I think it's really important to reach out to other people and just to remember that you're not alone, and that when those dark thoughts come, instead of kind of just being on your own and kind of just being really down, just interacting with other people to kind of lift you up.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing. I think, especially based on personal experience, these conversations of mental health don't happen for a lot of people until later in their life. Especially right now when I'm at my university, so many people are just figuring it out, you know, taking advantage of resources like our counseling center or having open discussions about it. So it's really inspiring for me to see such young people, at least in your shoes in high school, already having these conversations about it, destigmatizing it, and working to move forward where, you know, having these conversations about our emotional health won't be so stigmatized. And I think you're all doing a fantastic job doing so. So just want to acknowledge that and say that you're all really inspiring. And I hope you continue doing this in all aspects of your life with everyone you meet. It's so important.